What's up everybody, welcome to the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. My name is Eric. Today my brother Chris and I will be reviewing a type of shoe that we've never reviewed before. This is our first golf shoe from True Linkswear. Now, big disclaimer with this video, Chris and I do not golf. You're going to see some B-roll footage of us going out and playing a game because we wanted to get these out in their natural environment, but we know that we're terrible, so we don't need tips or tricks on our golf technique. We know that our swings are awful, so just keep that in mind. We wanted you to see these things out on the golf course, and so we went and played a game, and it was a ton of fun, but again, we know that we're terrible golfers. Now, we've not only worn them on the golf course, but in a bunch of different situations, and so we're going to go back and forth talking about all the things that we like and don't like about them. There's timestamps in the description if you want to jump around. I'm going to send you over to Chris now to start you off with our likes.
The first like that I want to bring up for the OG 1.2 from True Links is going to be the traction pattern. Now, I think this is the exact same traction pattern on my shoe as on Eric's shoe, so this should be the same across the board, but I felt like I was anchored to the ground really well the whole day that we were playing in these things. There was a point at which I had to hit off of a hill. That's where my ball landed when I drove. So hitting off of that up slope, I didn't feel like I was slipping downhill or that I was going to lose my footing at any point. And then I also had to hit out of the sand twice, and at no point did I feel during those two hits that I was going to have any issues with my traction. So I think the traction pattern on these works really, really well.
Okay, so when it comes to my first like of the True Linkswear golf shoes, the first thing that comes to mind is just what they are. A zero drop, wide toe boxed, thin and flexible golf shoe is just a really cool thing. The more exposure that Barefoot shoes get, the better, especially when it comes to these high profile sports. I talked about this with the Xero Shoes X1, that you've got a shoe that's on the court with the X1 being seen by millions and millions of people, and the same thing with a golf shoe. It's a very high profile sport, and so if you see these things out on the golf course and then you want to pair yourself, you go and you look into them, and then you hear about their zero drop platform and how flexible they are and the wide toe box, and now you know what Barefoot shoes are. I think that just the place that they have in the industry and the attention that they're gaining is a really cool thing. So to have a golf shoe that has those features and to be promoting the idea of Barefoot shoes is one thing that I really appreciate about True and what they're doing in the space. The shoe has some pretty good Barefoot qualities. We'll talk about the ones that might be missing in our dislikes, but they're definitely on the right path. They're giving the Barefoot shoe market more exposure into different areas and keeping that ball rolling, so I really like that about True.
The next like that I want to bring up for the OG 1.2 is going to be the fact that this thing is waterproof. Looking inside, you probably can't see it here on the videos. Hopefully I can get some close-ups, but it has the same waterproof lining in it that we are very familiar with that other companies like Lems use in their waterproof boots. So obviously that's going to give me some peace of mind that they are going to be truly waterproof, but then the construction as well, the fact that the whole upper is leather, and then it seems like the way that it is attached to the sole, there's no stitching that's going to let any water through here. I never had to hit a ball while standing in the water, but I did test this in other situations where the grass was wet and stuff like that, and walking around in those kinds of situations, it kept water out just fine. So I think that's something that's really cool for a golf shoe. Makes it a little bit more versatile, a little bit more utilitarian, the fact that it can keep water out.
So another quick like that I have with these things is just the way that they look. I think they've been designed very, very well. They're very aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. Now, when we went out and we took these to the golf course, they did not look out of place at all. And I think that that is a big issue when you hear about a Barefoot golf shoe. Like, is this thing gonna look like a clown shoe? Is it gonna stick out with what everybody else is wearing? And I don't think so at all. So I think Chris got that really nice, clean looking white one. I got this one that has this knit upper and some leather accents on it. And it fit in perfectly with what everybody else was wearing on the golf course. Now, I've also worn this to church. I think that it would fit in perfectly in an office setting. It really is just a good looking shoe. They definitely have some great designs over on their website that you should go and check out.
The last like that I want to bring up for the OG 1.2 is going to be the way that it looks. I'm not usually a huge fan of all white shoes because inevitably I get them super dirty, but I think these look super clean, very nice. I think they look very much at home on a golf course. They kind of fit in with that kind of aesthetic in my opinion. opinion, and overall it's just a really good looking shoe.
The last like I'm going to talk about here is just the overall comfort of this shoe, especially the one that I have. This one has this knit upper, which makes it really malleable and really soft on your foot, and so it really just stretches like a sock to the way that your foot is. It also has the sock-like collar, and so this part is really comfortable around your foot. If you tie these just right, you can slip them on and off, and that's a feature that I really like about it. Underfoot, they're thin and they're flexible. There's quite a bit of ground feel. It's got a nice insole in it that has just a little bit of squish to it too, and so underfoot, I find it to be a really good balance and very comfortable. While we were out on the golf course, we ended up playing 9 holes, and my feet felt perfectly fine after those 9 holes, so I really appreciate the overall comfort of this shoe, and that includes the underfoot comfort for those long days out on the course. Another thing that made this shoe really comfortable, again with that knit upper, is that it breathes pretty well. We were out in 95-degree weather. It was a very hot day, and my feet did not overheat. So there was no excessive sweating or anything like that. They ventilated really well, and even though it was a super hot day out on the green, my feet stayed cool, they stayed dry. So these really are super comfortable shoes. Before moving on to our dislikes, we wanted to mention some affiliates that we have going on with the channel right now. If you look behind me and see all these different boxes and all these different brands, we've got affiliate links to pretty much all of them. So if you're into the barefoot shoe space, you know of a brand, check the links down in our description, because we most likely have one to get to those brands' websites, and that really helps the channel out if you use those links. One that we always like to mention in our videos is Creeper's toe socks, because if you're in the barefoot shoe space and you're not using toe socks, then you are definitely missing out, and Creepers are our favorite ones. Out of the 20+ brands that we've tried, they've always been our favorites. So we find that the merino wool blend that Creepers is using does a really great job at all the things that you want out of a performance sock. So it's going to wick moisture away from your feet, helping to prevent blisters. It keeps your feet warm in the winter and cool in the summer. We wear them for every single activity, every single day. We wore our Creepers toe socks out on the golf course with these guys, and we love the experience that we had with them. So go and check out their link in the description of the video. Now I'm going to send it over to Chris to get us started with our dislikes of the shoe.
Getting into my dislikes for the True Links OG 1.2, the first one that I want to mention is going to be sizing issues. So this happened with other companies like Xero and Lems, just to give 2 examples of really big companies that we actually really like. In general, we have to size up in those, a half size. So I'm usually 10.5. I go with an 11 in Lems and Xero, and for True Links, I would have done the same thing. Obviously, this is the first shoe we've gotten from them, so we didn't know how they were going to fit. With True Links, I'm going to recommend everybody go up a half size from their normal size. Because of that, it kind of feels like the toe box is too narrow, but looking at it, you can see it's definitely more anatomically shaped than other golf shoes you're going to find out there. It's not quite as pointy and sloped, especially in towards the big toe, and I think this toe box feels fine, but it probably would have felt way better if I had gotten something that was more appropriately sized for my foot. The only other dislike that I have for this shoe is going to come in the form of that toe spring. You can probably see swooping up right there, and honestly, one caveat I'll give here is that I think it's breaking in. Some barefoot shoes do come with some toe spring. I've heard that it's just kind of a natural consequence of how shoes are constructed. There's going to be some toe spring. Now, whether or not you can feel that is another question, and this one is one where I can definitely feel the toe spring, but as I was walking around in it all day golfing, it did feel like it started to break in after some time. So because this is a leather shoe, and because sometimes that's all it takes is a little bit of break in, I will give that caveat. I don't like the toe spring it comes with, but it does feel like it started to break in.
Okay, so when it comes to my dislikes of the True Links Wear golf shoes, there's one thing that I can think of, and it is the toe box. Now, I do think that it's pretty wide, especially when you compare it to any of the competition that's out there. I took a look at Nike's, Adidas, Under Armour, whatever normal shoes you have out there with those big brands. They're awful. They're absolutely terrible. Go look at how pointy they are. They're not foot shaped at all. And these are much more wide, much more foot shaped, but I do think that some improvement could be made on the big toe side. I think that it does curve in just a little bit too much for what barefoot shoe people are looking for. So if this was just a little more anatomical, even if it just went straight up for another inch or so and then curved over, it would be a little bit better than what it is right now. It's just a little bit too pointy. Now, to their credit, at least for this one with the knit upper, this thing is so malleable. Like I said, it's like putting a sock on, that it doesn't really restrict my big toe or bother me. And so I think if that's something that you're worried about, look at this model specifically. But if they were going to rework anything, I would definitely take more of a foot shape and not have it taper here on this big toe side.
Getting into my final opinion on the True Lynx OG 1.2, would I recommend this as somebody who's looking for a barefoot style golf shoe? I think I would. If you're looking specifically for a golf shoe, I'm sure there are shoes out there from other barefoot companies that you could shoehorn into being a golf shoe. But if you're looking for a golf specific shoe from a golf specific company, obviously there's going to be some things that they know that they're doing specifically for golf that other companies aren't going to know. There's not a whole lot of other options out there for you. Palooza just released their first golf shoe, and obviously that's a toe shoe. If you're not looking for a toe shoe, you want something that's more traditional, I think this is a pretty good option, especially if you're looking between Eric's option and my option. They are very different. One's a little bit more clean, semi-formal, formal looking. It's made of leather. It's a little bit less flexible. It's got a little bit more rigidity to it. And then on Eric's model, something that breathes more, looks a little bit more casual, and is a little bit more flexible. True Lynx has options for you, which I think is really, really cool. I'm interested to see if there are more companies that are going to get into this specific market here in the future as Palooza has dove into it. We know of at least one other company that is developing a golf shoe as well, so we'll be interested to see what happens there. But make sure to let us know down in the comment section if you like this kind of content so we can make more of it. If you guys like this video, we will get the Palooza shoe and we'll test that one out as well. But as for me, I think the True Lynx are a really, really good option, especially this 1.2 version. They have a 3.0 now. They do seem to have some big differences to them, so it's not really as much of an upgrade as it is a whole new shoe. So maybe you'll like this one better. Go check it out if you're interested. I think it's a really, really cool option.
Okay, so when it comes to my final opinion of the True Lynx wear golf shoes, would I recommend these for other people? I think for hardcore golfers, if it's something that you're constantly doing and you're looking for a healthier shoe option, then yes, absolutely, go and grab these guys. Get out of your Nikes, get out of your Adidas, and let your toes have the space that they need for natural splay and alignment. I think these do all the things that you want a golf shoe to do. This traction pattern on the bottom is great. I had no issues with it out on the golf course at all. It grips very, very well. I think these look really good. They fit in with all the other golf shoes out there. And then they've got some of those barefoot features. They're zero drop. They're very thin and flexible. The toe box is wide, but like I mentioned, I'd take a little bit better of a shape out of this toe box. But again, if that's something that you're worried about, get the knit upper because it's not going to restrict your toes from splaying, in my opinion. So a really cool product. Chris and I had a really good time out on the golf course with these things, and I've enjoyed wearing them to church as well. They're just a nice looking shoe. If you're looking to get out of your traditional golf shoes, these are an amazing first step towards better foot health, and I would definitely recommend them for you.
Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up-to-date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.